Have you ever noticed how loud the world has become, even when it's silent? You open your phone for just a second, and 20 minutes vanish into the endless scroll. You sit down to work, but your mind drifts, jumping through a maze of tabs, messages, and memories. You tell yourself you're busy, but at the end of the day, nothing truly meaningful gets done. It's not your fault. The truth is, we are not living in an age of information. We are living in an age of distraction. Every vibration, every pop-up, every short video, each one is a small thief, stealing fragments of your attention. And like a river leaking from 1,000 cracks, your focus disappears before it even reaches the sea. But here's the hidden tragedy. Most people think this is normal. They call it multitasking, productivity, staying connected. But beneath it all lies a silent exhaustion, a tiredness not of the body, but of the mind. Kenji Sato was 17 when he realized something inside him was falling apart. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't careless. He was simply scattered, his mind stretched thin across 1,000 half-started things. He wanted to become an engineer, to create machines that could help people. But every time he sat down to study, his focus shattered. Say a ping from his phone, a thought about a game, a scroll through social media, and suddenly the night was gone. He told himself he'd do better tomorrow. But tomorrow always arrived with the same chaos. His teachers said he had potential. His parents said he wasn't trying hard enough. But deep down, Kenji wasn't sure what was wrong with him. It felt like there were two versions of himself. One who wanted to focus and one who refused to. That day, after yet another failed test, Kenji stayed behind. While the others left laughing, he sat frozen at his desk, staring at the red marks on the page. He whispered to himself, "Why can't I just focus like everyone else?" He didn't know that his quiet frustration would lead him to something ancient, something that would change his life forever. Because that same day, as the last students left, a quiet voice called from the corner of the room. "Kenji," said an elderly man, "you're still here." It was Mr. Hayashi, the philosophy teacher, a man known for his calm presence and the habit of drinking tea slowly, as if time itself waited for him. Kenji bowed slightly. "I failed again, sir." Mr. Hayashi nodded without judgment. Then perhaps it's not failure you're facing, but fragmentation." He gestured for Kenji to sit beside him. "Tell me," he said gently, "when you study, how many things do you try to do at once?" Kenji thought for a moment. "Maybe I have some music on or a video in the background. Sometimes I check messages while reading notes." The old teacher smiled faintly. "So you're trying to fight a war while entertaining your enemies?" Kenji frowned. "What do you mean?" Mr. Hayashi placed his teacup down and said softly, "There is an old teaching from Zen monasteries. It is called Ichigyo Zammai, the art of doing one thing with unbreakable focus. It means becoming so absorbed in the task before you that your mind and your action become one and the same." Kenji repeated the word slowly. "Ichigyo Zammai." The teacher nodded. "Yes, it is the forgotten discipline of the modern age. The samurai practiced it when drawing their swords. The monks practiced it while sweeping the floor. And you must practice it when you study." Kenji chuckled nervously. "But I've tried focusing. It doesn't last." Mr. Hayashi shook his head. "No, Kenji, you've tried to force focus. That's different. Focus is not something you command. It's something you invite. The way you invite silence," he continued, "is by preparing the space for it. When you remove distractions, breathe deeply, and give your full attention to one action. Focus naturally appears, like the surface of still water." He paused, then added, "Most people chase focus, but the masters create the conditions for it." Kenji's eyes widened. "And if I learn this Ichigyo Zammai, do you think I could change?" The teacher smiled. "Change? You will transform, but only if you commit completely. One task, one breath, one moment at a time." That night, Kenji sat at his desk, staring at a piece of paper that said, "One thing and fully." He turned off his phone, closed all tabs and took 3 deep breaths. At first it was painful. His hands twitched. His mind screamed, "Check your messages." Just 5 minutes, but he didn't move. He watched his thoughts pass, like clouds drifting across a mountain sky. And then something happened. A strange stillness. For the first time, the numbers on the page began to make sense. The noise in his mind faded. Time seemed to slow down. When he finally looked up, 2 hours had passed. He hadn't even noticed. Kenji leaned back in his chair, smiling in disbelief. He felt something he hadn't felt in years: clarity. He whispered the words again. Ichigyo Zammai. One thing fully. And from that night on, the path began. Every day when he sat to study, his mind fought back. He'd focus for a few minutes, then drift. He'd catch himself, return, and start again. At first it felt endless, but deep down something small had shifted. He was no longer judging himself. He was simply watching. Each time his mind wandered, he brought it back, not with anger, but with patience. That patience became his weapon. "Why is focus so hard?" he asked Mr. Hayashi one afternoon. "It's like my brain doesn't want to stay still." The teacher smiled. "That's because it doesn't. The mind is like a monkey, always reaching, grasping, leaping. But Ichigyo Zammai is not about caging the monkey. It's about teaching it to sit with you." He handed Kenji a cup of tea. "Tell me, when you drink tea, what do you think about?" Kenji hesitated. "Sometimes about school or what I'll do later." "Exactly," said the teacher. "That is the disease of our time. To do one thing while thinking of another. To eat while scrolling. To walk while worrying. To live while being somewhere else. True focus is not effort. It is presence. When your body and your mind occupy the same moment, you become whole again." Kenji practiced this in everything. When he brushed his teeth, and only brushing. When he ate, only eating. When he walked, only walking. At first it felt strange, almost boring, but soon he noticed details he had never seen before. The rhythm of his breath, the sound of footsteps, the scent of paper. He began to realize that life wasn't speeding up. He was slowing down, and in that slowness his power was returning. One afternoon, he found Mr. Hayashi sweeping the temple courtyard. "Do monks ever get bored?" Kenji asked. "You do the same things every day," the old man smiled. "Only when you believe repetition and boredom are the same thing. When a man's mind wanders, every task feels dull, but when his mind is present, even sweeping feels sacred. The monk sweeps not to clean the floor, but to clean his mind." That day, Kenji began to see his life as training. Every act, no matter how small it was, a chance to sharpen his attention. He began his mornings in silence. He studied in deep focus. He spoke less, listened more, and noticed that the world around him softened. When exam season came, Kenji sat at his desk, calm and clear. Others fidgeted, glanced around, panicked, but he simply breathed. His pen moved with steady rhythm. There was no rush. When the bell rang, he hadn't even noticed the time pass, and when results came, his scores were the highest he'd ever achieved. But what mattered more was the stillness inside him. He no longer measured success by outcome, but by presence. He no longer chased motivation. He created the conditions for mastery. "Does Ichigyo Zammai mean I should always work, always focus?" he asked one evening. "No," said Mr. Hayashi. "It means when you rest, only rest. When you play, only play. When you speak, be there fully. Do not chase more, chase depth. A shallow river makes noise, but a deep one flows silently." The world had not changed, but his mind had. He woke before dawn, breathed before touching his phone. He no longer fought distraction. He understood it. And that understanding became his power. To practice Ichigyo Zammai is to practice the art of being fully alive. Not tomorrow, not when everything is perfect, but here, now, in the single task before you. When you live like this, the ordinary becomes sacred. Cleaning your desk becomes meditation. Writing becomes art. Breathing becomes prayer. Because you don't need more time. You need more presence. The man who can give his full attention to one thing accomplishes more in an hour than the distracted man does in a week. Where attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, results grow. Kenji once believed focus was about working harder. Now he understood it was about being here. He was no longer running after time. He was moving with it. And in that flow, he discovered the quiet joy of mastery. The months passed, and he no longer thought of focus as a skill, but as a way of living. His room, once cluttered, was simple. His phone stayed silent. Even his friends noticed the difference. He spoke slower, listened deeper. There was no rush in him anymore. He seemed rooted, like a tree that had finally found its soil, but life always tests stillness. One morning before his final presentation, his computer crashed. Weeks of work, Gone. Panic hit like lightning. His heart raced, his breath broke. For a moment, the calm shattered. The old reflex, fear, anger, despair, returned. Then he closed his eyes. 1 breath, 2, 3. He remembered, when chaos comes, do one thing at air fully. He sat still as stone and breathed. Slowly, the panic faded. He began again, rebuilding everything from memory. Not perfectly, but with clarity. Hour after hour, he worked in silence. No fear, no noise, just him and the task. When he finished, he didn't feel exhausted. He felt alive. Ichigyo Zammai was no longer a practice. It was who he was. When he presented the next day, his voice was calm, his movements sure. He didn't perform. He embodied his work. The room fell silent when he spoke, not because he tried to impress, but because he was fully there. And when it ended, the applause was only a whisper in the background of his still mind. Afterward, he went to see his teacher one last time. Mr. Hayashi sat beneath a cherry tree, petals falling around him. Kenji bowed. "Sensei, I understand now." The teacher smiled. "And what do you understand, Kenji?" "That focus isn't about fighting distraction. It's about returning us again and again without anger. It's about giving myself completely to this moment, no matter what it is." Mr. Hayashi nodded. "Then you have found what most people spend their lives searching for." They sat in silence as petals drifted through the air. The wind moved softly through the branches. Kenji felt it. That same stillness he once searched for in screens and noise. It had always been here, waiting in the breath, in the act of doing one thing fully. He understood now that the true enemy was never the phone or the world. It was the untrained mind. And the weapon against it was presence. That evening, as he walked home under the setting sun, his steps matched his breath. The sounds of life moved through him like music. There was no separation between what he did and who he was. Ichigyo Zammai, one thing fully. When he studied, he was study itself. When he listened, he was listening. When he walked, he was movement. No division left, no noise, only flow. The world still rushed and shouted, but it no longer pulled him away. He had found stillness in motion, focus in chaos, peace in the storm. And perhaps that is the secret of all mastery, not to escape the noise, but to move through it without losing yourself. To live each moment as if it were the only one that exists, because in truth it is. When the mind is scattered, life becomes fragments. But when the mind is whole, life becomes one continuous breath, one unbroken act. Ichigyo Zammai, the art of doing one thing with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul. It is not an ancient secret meant only for monks or warriors. It is for everyone, for you. Whoever you are, whatever you do, there is a sacred way to do it, with your full presence. Because the world doesn't need more busy people. It needs more present ones. So the next time you sit down to do something, do it completely. Silence your mind. Breathe deeply and give yourself fully to the moment before you. That sort is the essence of Ichigyo Zammai. And when you live like this, you will discover something extraordinary. That peace was never something you had to find. It was always something you had to return to.